Hello. What's up? Sounding okay? Okay, good. Thanks, Tracy. Wait until a few more people jumping on here before I start giving that little lesson. Hey, John Phillips, is it? Sure, Tom, welcome. Thank you for joining the podcast, or whatever the webcast, whatever you want to call it. Bedtime lesson, Robin. Any questions? Any questions before I start? Because inevitably somebody's going to chime in and say, "What are we talking about?" All right. So, in the thing I hand out in the Dropbox link there, I gave you a bunch of chords. So let me just play a bit, and I'll show you what the chords match up to, or where you'd want to use them. Really straightforward. Those are the basic chords that I want to talk about tonight. We have a few You ever find yourself just playing on a blues and you kind of don't know what chords to play, right? You kind of feel like the standard old bar chords don't really cut it so great, right? So the first one I want to show you, which you may or may not know, and it's on the sheet there. If you click on that Dropbox link, you can get the PDF here. Is a dominant ninth chord with no root. So it looks like, if you know the chord, it looks like C sharp minor 7 flat 5. But it is just A9 with no root. A7 spelled A, C sharp, E, and G. If you put in a 9, that would be B. So it's kind of like we're playing that, but that's not a really great voicing. I mean, it can be, but this is the one. This is the one right here. So we have A. Here's my C sharp, G, B, and E. So that's an A9 with no root. So what's next going on is going to our 4 chords. So we're going to make this our 1 chord, A9. At the beginning of Stormy Monday, right? We got that. So it's the same thing as Stormy Monday. Now we go to the 4. Devin, you can't miss this. All right, so D9. I think we all know D9. If not, it's on your handout. So we have a D, F sharp, C. Here's my 9, and it's the E. And then for my 5 chord, I'm going to play E9. So this may be pretty rudimentary. Some of you guys may know it, some of you may not. This chord, though, is the money. That's the thing right there. Now, the trick about this, the reason why this sounds so good, is what we call voice leading. A lot of these notes are going to move as short a distance or remain the same between the two. So we have this A9 with no root to D9. So we have this E on the top. So you get this nice little melody. Right, so these two are just going together. And if you notice, just the C sharp moves up, half step. I'm sorry, a little brain fart there. Yeah, the G moves down a half step to the F sharp. The B moves up to the C, and the E remains the same. So you get this really cool. Okay, so that's the first thing I would say, and really just kind of work on that. Right? So now my 5 chord, I'm just going to bring up the E9 a whole step because it sounds cool. Between the 4 and the 5, as we get more advanced, as you go through these things, you can come up with different voicings and more voice leading. But one that always sounds great, when you go between your 4 and the 5, you slide in that one a whole step right here. Just play an E9, nothing's fancy. Back down to the D9 to the A9. So first we're going to talk about the right hand, the left hand, excuse me, and we'll talk about our right hand technique in a minute. So that's the first chorus of the blues. So let's say we've got... we're playing through a blues, right? Generally, you're going to want to play these sections twice, right? So I won't bother doing it now. I'll play it at the end. But I would play this for 24 bars, or twice through. You have variations. Just right now, I'm not getting too technical on a lot of the variations. I just want to show you the chords and then how you can expand upon them. But knowing the chords is the first big thing. All right, so I have this, right? There's my 1, A9 with no root. If you're just tuning in, if you look at the top here, there's a Dropbox link to a PDF I made about all the chords. So yeah, so you'll have them. So there's the A9 with no root, D9, E9, back down. Sorry, E9, D9, A9. Okay, so the next thing, if you want to move up the neck, where do you go, right? So A9 up here, but if I'm going... kind of high. I don't love that. So the next big chord, and I actually learned it from Stevie Ray Vaughan. He did not show it to me personally. Okay, it's an A13, and here we have the flat 7 in the root. So it's kind of tricky. You just got to know where the root is on this one. So I'm just going to read through the chord. So notes for you. On the inside, 4 strings. I have a G, a C sharp, F sharp, and an A. So that's the chord. That is a great chord. I'll get back to that in a second, too. More thoughts on that chord. All right, so it's an A13, and all you have to think about is where your root is. So it's right here with your second finger on a second string. And now if you're a little ditzy with this stuff sometimes on the gig, and you're like, oh, where's that root? It's right there. It's a whole step above your first finger. So if you just kind of keep some of these little visual cues until you become really confident with the chords, you're going to be good. So this is A13 with no root. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this over to my 4 chord, which is D9. So now we're going to play the D9 with no root. It's just like the A9 with no root we played here, but we're going to bring it up here. Okay, so A9, A13 to my D9 with no root. And remember we talked about just earlier, if you just tune it in, voice leading. So I'm moving as few notes as I possibly can between the 2 chords, or keeping any common tones if there are any. So if we take it apart, awesome, right? So here we have the, well, let me just kind of talk through that. Okay, everything moves down a half step. Yeah, it's a half step. Okay, I want to double check before I say that. And right here, my pinky is going to be on the root, which is A. Okay, and then when we go to my 5 chord, it's the E9 with no root. Back down the whole step to A9 with no root. Back. So I've just got, once again, play all 3. So there we have those 3. So as you notice, 2 of them are the same. So we have the A9 with no root. We're going to bring that up. It becomes a D9 with no root. Now here's something I didn't think about for years, which is kind of crazy. Here's my D9 no root, and here's my no root. But if I play D9 down here, so I have D, F sharp, C, E, and A. If I go back up here, D, F sharp, C, E, A. So if you know, to play that root with your thumb, your chin, like that, that's the chord right there. It's the same chord, but I didn't see that for years. I never thought to figure out how to play that chord somewhere else on the neck, so this is what it is. Now, Mark Clemens, you mentioned Robin Ford. I don't know who that is, but I heard he does this sometimes. He just flattens out his pinky on that one to get the high string. It's kind of nice too. Okay, so that's my second time, or my third time through. So that's the first, what we play when we move up. So I said there's going to be 6 essential chord voicings. 1, 2, 3, right? So now, when I want to go 1 higher to take it to this next level, say if somebody's soloing, I'm going to up there with the band. A7 like this. Okay, here we have C sharp. It's on your page too. C sharp, G, A, and E again. So the thing you have to think about once again on a chord like this is the root is not in the bass, or you're not even, you're not playing it at the lowest note. So you just want to kind of think about where those notes are. You don't know who Robin Ford is? Yes, of course. Hope you know I'm kidding, right? Yes. All right. So here's A7. Right? Just regular old, like C7, A7 bar chord. And I'm going to bring this up. Right, so I have, C, are you ready to the Model T? Okay, I got to pay attention. Alright, so it's C sharp, G, A, and E, right? So you just want to think about where the root is. So the root could be here, and that could be, the root is there, but it's also right there with your first finger. Okay, now here I'm going to go to D9, but check this one out. Alright, so this, it's on your handout there. It's like D7, right? Just regular D7. I'm going to put my pinky on the high string and get that 9, which is the E. So I have this. Pretty sweet. So, talking about the voice leading and common tones. Nice, right? So there's the A7 to A9, with the, sorry, D9 with the 9 on top. And here's another one of those great chords. This is E9. Okay, so is D, F sharp. There's my 9, so I have the flat 7, 9, the 3, and the root on the top. So once again, all these 3 chords, the handout, there's the picture. Remember, go to the Dropbox link and you'll see the fingerings. So where's my root on this? And my pinky on the high string. So the A7, excuse me. E9 with the 9 on top, back to A7, E9, D9, A7. Okay, so I'm going to play one time through each one with the track. And 2, 3, 4, 1. No root. No. Again. E9. I'm doing the same rhythm just so we can get the chords. So that's them all put together across the fingerboard. So you can think about them as steps, right? So I'm building up a solo, or you're supporting someone, and you just want to slowly kind of build these things up. Gives you something to play with. Now, I'm going to talk about the right hand for a minute, which is just going, playing swing eights. And all the rhythms come from the left hand. So it's like kind of, you see Stevie Ray Vaughan do that? Of course he did the whole big right hand thing. But pretty much anybody good does it. I mean, this fella Robin people talk about, he does it. That's actually who I got it from, watching him play it. Now one thing about that, to practice it, you really want to get that swing feel. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Keep that rolling, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And yeah, Todd Banner. Sorry, remember, it's not easy. No, it's not easy. But you just got to practice the crap out of it. That's what I did. Seriously, that's all I did. Was practice the crap out of it. Over and over and over and over and over and over. And then play with people and try to get it better, and then practice the crap out of it even more. And that's the answer. There's no secret mystical ability or anything like that. It's just dedication to getting that right. And listen to the right people. Little Walter. Listen to Little Walter. All those guitar players on those records, man. That's this stuff. That's what's really great. And it's very different than what, say, Vaughan would do. I mean, Vaughan does this thing, but even more of a Texas feel. Kind of what I'm playing is a little less that feel. Although he did this stuff, of course, just blues vocabulary. But okay, so the right hand, this is what's got to be going on. So I'm doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. No free lunch, right? Now, what I don't want to get is, I mean, it's good at first, but you don't want to practice this, like. But you don't want to check through the whole thing, right? So what I do is I ghost the notes, right? So, yeah, I'm playing them on up and downs as long as. Oh, hold on, my headphones still working? Yeah, all right. Hold on, pull it out of my pocket. So. Yeah, it's still good. All right. And you want to turn it on standby or something like that. Okay, so if you look at this right hand, if I can get this view, I'm going to ghost. So I'm going to not play some of them. So watch. Right? Right? So even I've got some of them hitting it, I think it's like a record needle, just picking up and putting it down, picking up, putting it down. Are you playing it on the upstroke? Yeah, man. It depends on what the rhythm is. The rhythm is going to be from the left hand, but the right, I'm just going up and down, up and down. Okay, I'll get to the questions in just a second. Let me just finish this. There's some good questions. about the chromatic approach notes, which I'll talk about right now. I'm just entering each chord to make it a little more fun from a half step above or half step below the chord change. And there's two ways you want to think about it. On the downbeat before the change, right? Or, depending on the tempo, or the eighth note before the change. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, now if it's real slow, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. So if it's a slow blues, you do it on the and of 4. If it's a fast blues, you kind of do it on beat 4 before the change. The trick is to not do the movement too much in one direction, right? So you don't want to do all of them from a half step below, because then it sounds kind of tedious and gets really annoying. Okay, so all right, so yeah, so let me just expand upon the idea a little bit more. Well, if this is, let's just look at the page, right? So you have, this is E9, right? So this must be A9. So there's a great voicing for A9. This was our A9 up here. Well, there's my root. There's D9. E9, D9, A9. Right? So they're all over the place. You can reuse a lot of these fingerings. Or you can do E9, D9, go to A7 like right here. So some of these voicings, like especially between the 4 and the 5, are cool ways to get from, you know, up the neck or down the neck. So think about it, like these voicings are just not, obviously only can be used in the key of A. Practice it in E. Now one thing about this voicing, this one right here, this A13, dominant 13 chord with a flat 7 in the bass. Since you're putting the flat 7 in the root, it can be a little funky sounding if you want to play it down here. So I would probably not play this as a C7, right? Because that low down, that bass note is just too heavy, right? So my general thinking is, I usually don't play that chord below the 5th fret. Just a little rule of thumb that I don't, maybe somebody's going to chime in. I play it all the time. No. Okay, great. If I'm going to play this, I want this, I'll just drop the 4th string. Like if I want to play D7 or D9, I might play that, but I'm not going to put that in the bass because it's just too thick and it just doesn't sound good. Just the low note interferes. Okay, so all right, so that's kind of it. I mean, just keeping this right hand going through the whole thing, and then you can start to do variations on the rhythms. Now, if the guys listen to like a little, Little Walter stuff, certainly Stevie Ray Vaughan and Robin Ford, of course, and everybody, you know, like anybody who's kind of good, any good jazzy influenced or just a heavier duty blues guy is going to be doing this stuff. It's that right hand that keeps it plowing through, but those voicings are super important. Okay, so as you guys may or may not know, I've got a lot of videos out on TrueFire discussing all this. I have an online classroom with TrueFire, which we kind of do this stuff back and forth. And of course, I offer Skype lessons or in-person lessons too. We can run over all this kind of material too. So any questions? All right, now we're going to go back here a bit. Yes, Robert Verz, there is no free lunch for sure. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm on my iPhone here. Do I use lower chromatic into the 1 chord? Is it typical to use it only in the 1 chord of 4 and 5 as well? That was Tom Forrest. It doesn't matter. It just wing it or hear it. Just like I said before, you don't want to do too many in the same direction. If you do too many in the same direction, it sounds kind of predictable, and it gets annoying, right? You know, I'll just give you a quick example. If I'm going like, right? I mean, it's a little corny, but it does get a little tedious. So, and then sometimes I don't do the chromatic approach notes. I just go right to the chord. You know, if you do it too much of a good thing is always too much. Randall Beck, oh, yeah, in our class, right? Yeah, I did make it look easy. Thank you, I appreciate that. Gorgeous Les Paul, 58. Yeah, it's a 58 actually, with a nicer top. Technically, it's a 58, not a real 58. Okay. A lot of questions. Feel free. I'm here. I'll show you one other thing while waiting for questions, if there are any. Don't be shy. How to get from this the one chord here to this one up here. Sometimes I don't love this. Not bad, but it's kind of a jump, right? So there's a cool line I stole from Stevie Ray Vaughan. I think it's in Scuttlebutton or something. I don't know. One of them. You'll know it when you hear it. So I'm going to take it from the 5. Back to the 1. That move. Then here. So I'm right there. Right, so that move right there, it's a cool little device that gets you up there. You don't want to do it too much, but on doing it, because then you're going to get into trouble there. So I'm just doing some 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. It's all in a timing, so you have to practice that one, because guarantee if you don't practice, you're going to screw it up on a gig, right? So here I'm going to do, I hit a down click on the 1 beat, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Right? Just gets you right up there. So I'm sliding the A9 with no root to my D9 with no root. So I'm on my 4 chord up here, and I'm back to my 1. And it really beautifully leads to this A9 up top, A13, excuse me, up top. Okay. Common tones for soloing overs. Okay, I don't want to get. Thanks. It's a good question, man. I want to stay on rhythm right now. But if you think about the chord shapes, right? Just playing the chord tones, more or less. Okay, so I don't want to. We'll get into that later. But thank you, it's a good question. How would you incorporate diminished into the mix using chord forms that you just showed? Okay, the first one would be a cool passing 4 diminished chord. And this is just the big one. I'll talk about this one mainly. So it's a good question, thanks. 1, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, that right there. So it's called a sharp 4 diminished 7th chord. There's your 4 chord, D, and this is not on your PDF, but 2, D sharp diminished 7 on bar 5 of the blues. Back to your 1. Now the diminished 7th chord, you give that cool trick since each of the notes are equidistant. Any note can be the root. I could do like that line where I slide it up in minor thirds. Tied to the train tracks thing, right? All right, so that's where I throw a diminished 7th chord in. Can you elaborate on voice leading? Well, the idea behind the voice leading, like I had said, is I'm just keeping notes common, or moving the notes as little in each direction as I possibly can between the 2 chords. And if you look at the first 2 chords that I gave you on that PDF right here, just the A9 no root to D9, you notice that either they move in a half step to each other or the note stays the same. In this case, the E stays the same. So that's the idea of voice leading, moving a few notes or as many notes as little as possible or keeping common ones the same. What about throwing in some altered 5 chords? Sure, man. You can throw in the 5 chord. Right, so just do an E7 sharp 9, the Hendrix chord. So, well, with that, right, if you're playing this, E7 sharp 9, or E9, there's my 9, I want to sharp it. It's a great chord. I love that chord because, you know, sometimes you want to play A7 sharp 9. Look. But you don't want to play that because it's too high. That's A7 sharp 9. You know, yeah, Robin uses that one all the time. How do I play licks around those chords, Robin? I don't gotta keep it chords. And how do you approach playing licks around chords, and how do you feel when they're suitable? Well, I'll talk about when they're suitable. Whatever sounds good, you know, just through practicing it. But it's a good question, Robin. Thank you. I just want to keep it to chords because that gets to you know. You had a blast to my class in 1991, 92. I wasn't born then, so I don't know what you're talking about. On the 4 chord, Adam Sasso, on the 4 chord, what are you playing on the high string? Depends on what 4 chord. On the E, when I'm up here, on the D9, it's on the PDF, in the thing that you're on the top. There's a handout, a PDF. You can download from Dropbox. It's a D9. 9 on top. All right. Yes, D9. You got the correct one. Yes. Hey, Jerry Markman, how you doing, man? Where is the first chord? It's on the page. It's on the handout. Slide the rootless 9 up whole step and get a 6th. Yep, you can do that. Yes, thank you, Mark Clements. All right. Right, so yeah, you can do it that way. Chris Amler lurking. Hold on. So yeah, I can bring up the 9 and make it like kind of a 6, or it sounds kind of like a 13. Just make sure you drop that low note, right? Because that'll sound terrible. You don't want to do that. So if I'm going to play this, the A9 with no root, slide up the whole step. Make sure I don't keep that first finger down. You know, you can even just drop the 4th string, right? Do that. There's throwing the root on top. Thank you, Chris. Chris Amler, personal friend of mine. PDF does not have the fret numbers. Sorry. It does have the root. The root is circled, right? So it doesn't have the fret numbers? All right, well, you guys can work for it a little bit. Hey, what do you want for nothing? All right. Okay, so there's a few courses that I have at TrueFire that really talk a lot about this stuff. There's my Rhythm Guitar Survival Guide. That, and the newest one I put out for rhythm, it's the Advanced Essentials Rhythm Guitar stuff. So very similar things to this, some really cool ideas, moving chords. A lot of similar chord voicings throughout the songs. That's kind of what you play, but yeah, they're all in there as well. Which brings me to the sales pitch. You know, yes, you can study with me. We can do this kind of stuff in person, here online. You can just reach out to me here on Facebook. I know some of my students are right here right now, like Devin, and you know, it's great. It's a great way to learn. And or I have a TrueFire classroom, which of course you can join, called the Juke Joint, or it's called now Continuing Lessons Online. So you can check that out at my website, jeffmckerline.com. You can also reach me here at Facebook, you know, just PM me, or jeff@jeffmckerline.com. That's also my website. There's a way you can reach me through my website as well. But yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, and the fretboard is maple, and you're using a rosewood fretboard. What? I'm confused. This is not maple. All right, so and Jeff says Major Mojo. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Any other questions before I go? Just some guys had asked. I am playing through a Kemper at the moment, which is kind of, yeah. Emery, what? keyboard nut all over again, you know. All right. Have you tritone subs on the fourth? Yeah, sure. A tritone sub is just the same chord. You just throw in a dominant seventh, the tritone away. I don't want to hold down the minute blues, you know, because then it sounds kind of, you know, or like, you don't want to send it too long. But I mean, you could look at the chord that's the chromatic approach. It's a little bit of a tritone substitution. So Dave, yeah, it can, if you sit on a tritone sub in place of a 1 or the 4 or the 5, it can sound a bit funky, and it does, like you're saying, it does take away from it feeling like a blues. It could sound a bit more jazzy, or just sometimes it just sounds like crap. I've tried it, you know, I'm like, it just sounds like you're on the wrong chord. All right. You're welcome, Randall. Thanks for joining in. Skype lessons with Jeff are better than the brain implants on the Matrix. They are true. It's true. It's true. I can play guitar. All right, guys. I really appreciate you sitting in with me on this, and we'll see you on the next one. Hold on. Applying different rhythms throughout the progression adds some spice. Yeah, of course. I played it pretty straight right now just to get the chords down. But yeah, you play along with the band. You interact with what they're doing. You know, yeah. Think like a rhythm section, you know, like a horn section time. That's a lot of fun too. Just before I jump off, like, you know. Can you add those kind of things? You know, that kind of thing. Any more podcasts coming? No. Adam, we had a podcast. Jason Shadrick and I from Premier Guitar. We did one episode, and then I think Premier Guitar didn't want him to do something outside of school. That's the truth. And I got to be honest, Jason was the guy who was the impetus driving force behind it. And it's a lot of work. It would be fun, but I don't really have the time. And if you know anybody who makes any kind of living on a podcast besides Mark Maron and, like, you know, let me know how they do it, you know. It was fun. I enjoyed doing it, but that's a lot of work, and just honestly, it's a ton of work, and maybe not a lot of return. I much prefer doing like the video lessons and the YouTube page and this kind of stuff. I prefer the medium. Okay, so once again, thanks everyone. I will see you soon, and thank you. JeffMcElwain.com, lessons with me.